Thanks for joining the meeting. We're here to go over the Cybersecurity Pilot Program and talk about MGT and uh, talk about some details and aspects of the Cybersecurity Pilot Program. Um, let's go to the agenda slide. Uh, we'll do some brief intros and talk about MGT just for a moment, and then I'll turn it over to Alan Jones, our CISO, to discuss the cybersecurity pilot program, and then we'll talk about some eligible services and case studies. And if you don't mind, if you have questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll circle back around to those at the end of the presentation. Next. So just to provide some introductions, my name is Doug Menderhout. I'm Vice President of Solutions Architecture over the Eastern US for MGT, Impact Solutions. We also have Edwin Dotson. He's my counterpart over the West. And then we've got Alan Jones, our CISO, here to speak for us. Next. So a little bit about MGT. We're celebrating our 50th year. So we were formed originally a group of ex-educators and started the company. And we've grown over the years and had some acquisitions and brought in other components of our business we'll talk about, including technology services. So we're very focused on the SLED market, the K-12 space in particular, and really focused on products and solutions to address that market. Next. So we can break our areas of focus into four major categories. Strategy and implementation, that would cover educational strategy, public policy, public strategy, cybersecurity and resilience. We have a number of products that we can sell and represent, as well as providing security consulting services and also cybersecurity services such as 24/7 SOC and SIM managed SIM services. We also do cloud infrastructure, cloud services, hosting, business continuity, disaster recovery services, hosted data centers. And then under our performance and operations group, we provide financial services, and we also can provide school-focused services like school turnaround or school startup, those sorts of things. Next. So we're a national organization. We're focused on providing technology, co-managed solutions, and strategy solutions to SLED clients. We function in a very cooperative way with our customers. We don't, we prefer to, make our customers successful, and then that drives success for our students, which is why we're really all here. Our mission is to provide solutions that achieve meaningful outcomes and impact communities for good. It's kind of our tagline. Next. I'll go over this real quickly. We have some segments of the market would look at us as a value-added reseller. Others would look at us as technology consultants. We have a really deep bench from a technical and consulting perspective. We have, typically a 8-to-1 ratio of consultants and engineering staff to sales, which is very unusual in the industry. And we've got the usual laundry list of certifications and accreditations. So next. So I won't. I'll just spend a moment here. We do have pretty good national coverage. We're in quite a number of states. We serve about 50 million students a year with our technology services and with our consulting services and transformation services. So pretty good coverage, and we're looking to expand this map in the coming weeks and months and add more blue dots to it. So Alan, next. Um, And just to kind of close here, talking about us, here's a number of our verticals. that we address. With cybersecurity, we have a number of partners there, network infrastructure, all the usual ones. Cloud and data, kind of the notable thing is that in addition to some of the infrastructure pieces, we also provide a lot of services, managed backup. One thing that's important from a cybersecurity perspective is patch management, managed business continuity, managed disaster recovery. Um, uh, there's also some components that are eligible under MIBS and E-rate from a networking and cybersecurity perspective under those programs. We also have physical security. We're probably the largest Verkada reseller nationally, and certainly the one with the best relationship with that manufacturer, as well as some other products. Um, UCS services, mass notification, clock bells, panic buttons, that kind of thing, power protection. And then again, we can overlay managed services, co-managed services on top of all these verticals. So that's the price of entry. That's the quick commercial. So I think at this point we're ready to turn this over. So let's go to the next slide. I think we're ready to turn this over to Alan Jones, and he can talk about what you're here to hear about. Really, is the cybersecurity pilot program.
Yep. Doug, thank you for that introduction. As you mentioned, my name is Alan Jones. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer for MGT Impact Solutions. Previous to that role, I worked with Doug in our Technology Solutions Group for 15 years, providing a variety of these services to our clients, specifically in the cybersecurity space. And so today, as a result of kind of that experience and what we've learned about the program, we're going to go over what services and technologies that we can provide to best take advantage of the program. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, well, I say that unfamiliar. If you're signed into this webinar, you at least have a passing familiarity with it. But for purposes of a refresher, the FCC's Cybersecurity Pilot Program has been built on a $200 million fund over the course of 3 years. It's designed to defray the cost of cybersecurity equipment and services. That latter is very important. It includes technology and services from 4 major categories. Those are advanced or next generation firewalls, endpoint protection, identity protection and authentication, and then monitoring, detection, and response. The key dates for this, one of which is already passed, is the 470s become available January 17th of this year. 471 filing window is from March 18th, a couple of days ago, to September 15th of this year. There are 707 participants who have been selected by the FCC to participate in the program. That selection occurred on January 16th. Over 500 schools, or excuse me, school districts, 105 schools, 50 libraries, and 12 consortia. The process is to follow the normal FCC steps for soliciting bids and procuring desired services and equipment. And then finally, we'll say that we are not E-rate consultants, but we have decades of E-rate experience and understand eligible services. So what we'll talk about going forward is the technologies in those 4 major categories, as well as the services that we can provide that provide supplemental support to those. So as I said, the pilot program has 4 major technology categories that it is set up to support. Next generation firewall, endpoint protection, identity protection, and then monitoring, detection, and response. I'll go through each of those in turn, and we'll discuss what they are, as well as the services that MGT provides over the top to maximize your investment. The first is advanced or next generation firewalls. If you're not familiar with that technology, the next generation firewall is an evolution of the traditional network firewall that is designed to provide segmentation of different network elements. So if you think about the network as the plumbing between computers, the firewall provides filtering of the data that's flowing through that plumbing from computer to computer. That occurs on a very low network level traditionally. A next generation firewall takes advantage of increased horsepower and capabilities of those platforms to provide higher levels of abstraction, giving you the ability to provide filtering capability not only on IP addresses, but also on, for example, different application types. So allowing you to have web browsing, but prevent you from using Facebook, as well as firewall filtering based on identity information. So we're going to allow members of our staff group to browse Facebook, but we're not going to allow students. In addition to that, next generation firewalls also take advantage of traditional unified threat management capabilities, so intrusion prevention, URL filtering, and etc. Those technologies are available from a variety of vendors that we support. You saw those on the slide that Doug provided to you earlier. But in addition to that, we offer a number of services around those platforms. So in addition to implementation of those platforms, we also offer technical support as well as managed services. So for example, if you require someone to provide for care and feeding of your platform above and beyond what you would use in a normal installation service, then our managed services arm can provide that for you. That can go as far as simple monitoring if the firewall is up and down, all the way to a fully turnkey deployment and monitoring or management solution. In addition to that, we also the next group is endpoint protection. So endpoint protection is very important. And I also want to take a step back and say, before we get into this too far, most of what we're seeing in the pilot program so far has been around next generation firewalls. I'm known in the community for hot takes, sometimes bad takes. And one of them is that the diminishing value of firewalls is a reality. In 2025, approximately 85% of all network traffic is in some form or fashion encrypted, and therefore it becomes obscured from the detection capabilities or the analysis capabilities that next generation firewalls provide you. And so the other components, the other four components here are of equal, if not more importance, and it's something that I would encourage you to consider carefully when you're attempting to use the program. So moving on, endpoint protection revolves around providing for protection on in-station computers, whereas the next generation firewall component was operating at the network level. The endpoint protection solutions are not only inclusive of traditional antivirus solutions, but they're also inclusive of what are referred to as endpoint detection and response, or EDR solutions. Again, a number of our manufacturer partners provide these solutions. We can help you with the configuration, installation, purchase, and support of all of them. But the major value there is that it overcomes the challenges that you face in a ever more increasingly encrypted network. So the firewalls had tremendous visibility advantage a few years ago because of the visibility that they provided. It was a centralized place to give you one-stop shop to look at what's going on in your environment and control that very granularly. As encryption has increased, your visibility has gone down, and so the utility of those platforms have gone down as well. So how do we get that back? The way that we get that back is by having software that's landed on an endpoint system that overcomes that encryption, because we see the traffic and we see the activity at the source. It's a much more effective way to kind of control and analyze what's going on in your environment. As I said, a number of our manufacturers provide these technologies, and we can help you select, install, and configure and support them. In addition to that, in our managed services group, our EDR solutions are available much in the way we do with our firewall services, from a simple making sure that there are baseline configurations in place, all the way to a fully turnkey managed services solution built around your endpoint software. The third component is identity protection and authentication. This is a key component of network or information security in the 21st century. As more and more applications move out of our data centers and into the cloud, that profoundly changes our network topologies. And not only that, it also changes the attack surfaces that we deal with. So instead of hackers attempting to penetrate perimeters and gaining access to internal network resources, what we see more and more in the field now is attackers turning to these SaaS-based applications and using identity-based attacks to overcome them. That's why this is an additional offering in the pilot program, and why we feel like this is a key component of security in the 21st century. So a number of different identity products are available, not only that are identity providers, so they provide you with a source of who your users are, but also additional services over the top that provide additional levels of security. So things like multi-factor authentication, access control policies that are based on geography or risk level, and a number of different techniques to identify attackers and preventing them from accessing your SaaS applications. Again, we offer turnkey services in this, all the way from simple management or simple installation and configuration, all the way to full turnkey management of those applications. And then the final component is monitoring, detection, and response. So you've heard me mention several times that network visibility is something that is continuing to diminish. You've also heard that our applications are moving out and away from our data centers, where that network visibility wouldn't necessarily be of advantage to us anyway. And so how do we regain our ability to contain attackers? The answer is that ultimately we don't, because we're limited in what our scope is. A better solution and a better way to move forward is to provide comprehensive telemetry of the applications and endpoints that we provide, or that are a part of our network, and monitor that telemetry carefully. MGT offers, as Doug mentioned earlier, 24/7 by 365 security operations services that give you eyes on glass all day, every day, and can help you defend your networks, and not only provide you with simple alerts that things are going on, but can also interdict threats on your behalf. So with that, we're going to cover a couple of case studies where we have assisted clients in their cybersecurity needs.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alan. So the case studies, we're going to show you two case studies. These are sort of a tale of David and Goliath. So the first case study here is the Goliath. So this is Dallas ISD. They're certainly top 10 in the country. I would need to see where they fall on the list, but 150,000 students, very large district. They could do the geography. They have both affluent and underprivileged areas. Their issues include, they had a security breach, which is unfortunately not uncommon these days. They have due to their size, they have some siloing of their internal staffing, and just like every school district, they have a limited budget. They wanted to more effectively operationalize some security as well. They've made some large investments in some tooling, and it gives them really good data. But having someone to make that data actionable is it's expensive for a district to hire the staff to do that. So what we were able to do is work with them, and fortunately they were put a bid out, and we were fortunately awarded the business from that bid, and we're providing them a cloud-based SIM solution with 13 months of data retention. We were again able to identify some use cases where we could operationalize some of the SIM data and create SOAR orchestration to automatically contain and quarantine some threat actors based on the events that are occurring, being received by the SIM. And then we provide SOC services to give them, again, provide 24/7 monitoring and security response to their managed elements. And that's quite a bit: firewalls, servers, all the endpoints, Google Workspace, Azure, et cetera, et cetera. So quite a large footprint, quite a large district, and somewhat of a focus need, but it's made a significant impact to their day-to-day to have someone constantly monitoring and responding to those security events. So the next customer that we're going to talk about would be Eanes ISD. So this is on the opposite end of the spectrum. This is a very small district. They're in somewhat of an affluent area, and the common assumption is, oh, well, they have a great tax base, they're going to do really well. Unfortunately, they actually have very limited funding because they don't qualify for a lot of the need-based programs, and they don't get to consume all the tax dollars in their area. And that kind of leads to their biggest challenge, which is they can't retain staff due to the high cost of living and their limited payroll. They get new people in, they work with them, train them, and in a year and a half, they're struggling to pay their rent, and they're having to take a better job somewhere else that pay. I shouldn't say better job, but one that pays more money. Um, they've also had a failure of some firewall components that resulted in a pretty public issue for the district. And as a result of that, and sort of the nature of the area, they've got some activist parents that like to complain to the board and cause problems. Um, and due to the staff turnover, that's resulted in poorly maintained infrastructure. Some of it was a lot of patching issues, a lot of software maintenance issues. And then all that combined resulted in some frequent outages. So we were able to work with the district, and we proposed a set of services, managed firewall services. We also took over management of their network and data center. And then again, kind of key here, as simple as it sounds, but just keeping everything patched and up to date mitigates a vast number of security issues that the district was dealing with. And then to assist the district, we have a ongoing mentoring program, so that when they do get new staff and new employees in, we work with them both on a regular basis, and then we also have quarterly training sessions with the new staff to help bring them up to speed. And that's been fantastic, because when they do have new staff come in, we're able to get them up and get them effective in a much shorter time frame than they were able to do that without our assistance. So it's been a fantastic partnership. And that's been a multi-year contract. We're doing the firewalls, application delivery controllers, campus, wired, wireless, managed backup services. Again, that gives them a great deal of comfort knowing that if they have a ransomware event or what have you, we have immutable backups, and we can quickly recover all of their VMs from the backup system. So it's been fantastic partnership with Eames as well. So with that, that kind of concludes our presentation. I don't know if there's any remaining questions. Let me check our parking lot here in the chat. I don't see any questions. So that concludes the presentation. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending. I appreciate your time today. If you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to MGT via the links provided.
Thanks, everyone.